For decades, Larry King was, well, the undisputed king of talk. He interviewed just about everyone you can imagine. Presidents, movie stars, you name it. But how did he get so good at it? In this explainer, we're going to dive into his book, How to Talk to Anyone, Anytime, Anywhere, to pull out the master's secrets. And you know what? His very first lesson starts with a question for you. All right, let me ask you something. Would you rather jump out of a plane without a parachute or make small talk at a dinner party? Now, if you even hesitated for a second, you are not alone. That fear of talking to strangers is a real thing. And believe it or not, even the king of talk himself was once absolutely terrified of the microphone. So let's talk about Larry King's very first day on the radio. You'd probably think a guy like him, a natural-born talker, just stepped up to the mic and was brilliant from day one, right? Yeah, you would be wrong. So wrong. Okay, so picture this. It's May 1st, 1957. At 8:30 in the morning, Larry King is a total wreck. Chugging coffee, his mouth is bone dry. Then at 9 a.m., his theme music starts to play. He fades it down, opens his mouth to speak, and nothing. Just dead air. He panics, fades the music back up, tries again. Still nothing. He is completely frozen, thinking his career is over before it's even started. And then, at 9:03 a.m., the door to the control room gets kicked wide open. His general manager just explodes into the room and yells 5 words that changed absolutely everything. This is a communications business. Then he slams the door shut, leaving King all alone with that mic again. And you know what? Somehow, that single sentence actually worked. So what was the big lesson he learned in that moment of pure terror? It wasn't some fancy breathing technique or a vocal exercise. Nope. It was something way more fundamental, way more human. The secret was just honesty. King realized in that moment that the absolute best way to connect with an audience, whether it's one person or a million people, is to just be honest about where you're at. Stop pretending. For him, honesty became his professional survival tool. Those were the very first words Larry King ever spoke on air. He just told the truth. He laid it all out there. And by putting the audience in his shoes, he completely broke the spell of fear and, as he tells it, he never felt that specific kind of stage fright ever again. So that whole experience, that disastrous debut, it became the bedrock of his entire philosophy. And from that one moment, he built a set of fundamentals that really anyone can use to have a better conversation. King's whole formula really comes down to these 4 things. It all starts with honesty, which we've just seen in action. Next up, you need the right attitude, and that's just the simple will to talk, even if it feels a little awkward at first. And the last 2, well, they're a two-way street. You got to show genuine interest in the other person, and then have the openness to let them be interested in you too. Now, this is huge. The engine of any great conversation is the question, but there is definitely a right way and a wrong way to ask them. See, a yes or no question is basically a dead end. Isn't this hot weather awful? Yep. And conversation over. But look at the alternative here. You frame it with a personal thought, and then you end with, what do you think? That simple little tweak invites a real response. It's literally the difference between a locked door and an open one. Okay, so those are the fundamentals. Now it's time to level up. From his thousands and thousands of interviews, King started to notice that the world's best talkers, the real masters, they all shared a few common traits. This is the masterclass right here. So let's really break these down because it's more than just a checklist. The best talkers, they look at things from a new angle and have broad horizons, meaning they're interested in stuff outside their own little world, so they always have something interesting to contribute. They bring a real enthusiasm and genuine curiosity to the conversation. They're always asking why. And this is critical. They don't make it all about themselves. They show true empathy for the other person's point of view, and they know how to use a little humor to connect. And maybe most important of all, they have their own style. They're not faking it, they're not trying to be somebody else, and that authenticity, it's magnetic. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground, from surviving a complete train wreck of a debut to the habits of the masters. But King saved his single most important piece of advice for last. This is the one rule to rule them all. So what do you think it is? What is that one single thing that separates the truly great conversationalists from, well, from everyone else?
I'll bet it's probably not what you're thinking.
Here it is, the entire secret in one single sentence. From the man himself, I never learn a thing while I'm talking. Just let that sink in for a second. The most important part of talking isn't the talking. The number one rule is this: listen. I know, it sounds ridiculously obvious, but it's the skill we practice the least. When you actually, truly listen, you're showing respect, you're learning, and you're discovering all the little threads you can pull on for your next great question. Good listeners become good talkers because they're actually paying attention.
And ultimately, that's the big secret. The key to talking to anyone, anytime, anywhere, is simply to be a better listener. It is the most generous and honestly the most effective communication tool you have. So, my final thought for you is this: who are you going to go out and truly, deeply listen to today?